everyone, and welcome to my first TBR. I'm so excited to actually be filming my own TBR video. It's something that I watch so often other people doing, and I'm actually getting to do my own. So I've also filmed a recent reads sort of wrap up, which I will try and link up in the cards if you haven't seen that yet. And that's just a wrap up of the latest sort of 5, 6 books that I've read recently. I think I'll maybe do that as sort of monthly ones because I tend to read vastly different amounts month to month. So I'll probably just do, once I've done 5 to 6 books, I'll probably just go and do a wrap up from that. That's kind of what I'm planning on doing. So today I'm going to be talking about the next sort of 5 books that I plan on getting to. And these are a mix of audiobooks and ebooks and print books as well. I like to have something going kind of each thing. I tend to listen to audiobooks while I'm driving, or if I'm out doing something at the yard and just want a bit of something on in the background, or if I'm doing any housework, I like to have an audiobook on. So I like keeping something there for that. Ebooks are obviously really handy. They're on my phone the majority of the time. I'm hoping to get my hands on a new Kindle soon, but at the moment I'm just reading them on my phone. So I like to have something that's essentially always with me because I'm never without the damn thing. So that's that. And then when I'm comfy at home, I usually just read what I have in print. So like I say, I like to have a bit of a mix for everything that I have to suit my different needs, basically. So for the next batch of books I plan on reading, the one that I'm reading in print, I've actually technically been reading already for like a couple of months, but it's like I marked it as I started reading it on Goodreads, and then I read a tiny part of it and then got distracted as I always do. This one is Dark Bites by Sherilyn Kenyon. So Sherilyn Kenyon is one of my favourite authors, and I'm rereading her Dark Hunter series at the minute. I spoke about that in the video I was just mentioning, my recent wrap up. And basically this is a massive collection of short stories. Not all the characters are important enough to essentially get their own book, but they usually have enough of a backstory to warrant a little novella about them, basically. So this book contains a bunch of stories about characters that don't necessarily need their own book, but they're going to be in the stories somewhere, in the series somewhere. So we could do with seeing, their backstory, their origins, their motivations, why they do the things they do, basically. So like I said, I've technically been reading this for a couple of months, but I'm determined to finish it this month. And I've only actually read one of the stories on it. They're kind of too short to give too much details on. They really are like quite small stories, but the one that I have read was kind of like a tragic love story with a goddess that fell for one of her warriors, got royally screwed over by another god, and they're clearly going to come back into the series somewhere. I'm not sure where, but from the ending of the book, they're definitely going to appear somewhere. So I kind of can't wait to see when they appear, because it's not anywhere I've read up to until this point, and I've read quite a few of them. So I'm rereading the series at the minute, so at least when I see them show up again, I will know who they are, which is good. But yeah, I'm going to try and power through this one this month because I've actually not read it before, and I love all the little short stories, and I love things based on like Greek and Roman myths, and obviously that's kind of centre to a lot of the stories based in this series. So that should be a good read. So I'm looking forward to doing that one. And another book that I'm again also currently reading is Inborn by Thomas Enger. So this is completely different. This is a crime novel. It's I'm reading it as an audiobook. So this is what I'm currently listening to in the car when I'm going off to see Dylan. So I will place a photo of the book up here. So this one is a crime, it's like I say, it's a crime novel. There's basically been 2 murders in a high school in Norway? I want to say Norway. How bad is it that I'm reading this book and I can't remember where it's even set? I think it's Norway. I'm going to go with that. So there's been 2 murders of high school students. 1 girl and 1 boy. And basically the story is following the policeman that is obviously looking into the case and interviewing the suspects and trying to figure out what happened. and it's also from the perspective of the prime suspect, which is the boyfriend of the girl that was murdered. So the general theory is that he killed his girlfriend in a moment of rage, crime of passion kind of situation, and then the boy that was murdered saw something to do with this, and then that's why he ended up dead. That is the general theory, and I think the concept of the book is kind of like, right, okay, obviously I'm looking into the crime and try to figure out if he did it, but it's also, you know, the boy who is the prime suspect is obviously claiming he is innocent, and it's also suggesting, can we trust his narration as well? So there's a possibility of an unreliable narrator here. So the concept of the book is really interesting, and I will let you know how I get on with that when I finish that, hopefully fairly soon. I think I've got about 4.5 hours left of that audiobook, so I will let you know how that's going when I wrap up that one. So the other audiobooks that I have in my kind of TBR for the next little while is Queenie by, let me check, Candice Carty-Williams. This book has also been discussed by a few of my favourite YouTubers and booktubers. They've mentioned this one. So it's basically following the life of a young black woman living in London, and she is going through like a messy breakup and is basically making some bad life choices, and it's just following her kind of journey to figure out who she is and what it means to be, you know, a black woman in society, you know, nowadays. It sounds really interesting. It's not normally the kind of book that I would go for. I'm more into my sort of fantasy paranormal type things. I get a lot more excited about that kind of stuff. But I've heard some really good reviews about this book, and I want to give it a read myself and see what my thoughts are on it. So we'll give that one a go, and we'll see how I feel. But yeah, I'm excited to be trying something that I wouldn't normally read, and sometimes my recommendations that come from BookTube, I find stuff that I end up really loving. So hopefully this is going to be one of them. So another one of the books that I'm most excited to read soon is Am I Normal Yet by Hollybourne. So Hollybourne is a favourite author of mine. I love her writing style. She's really funny and really blunt and honest, and is the kind of writer that she writes things that we all think but maybe don't all say. But it's so relatable and makes you laugh. I've read 2 of her books now, and basically going to read everything that she's ever put out because I just think her writing style is absolutely hilarious. So I would definitely recommend checking out anything by her. But the one I'm going to try and read in the next little while is Am I Normal Yet? And this follows a main character who had a bit of a spell of going a bit off the wall and basically is trying to get her life back on track, make some friends, have relationships. And I suppose one of the themes that is quite prevalent in Hollybourne's books is mental health. And it's one of those topics, it's like, how do you write a good fiction book with so much mental health and big issues in it? She manages to do it. The last one I read, Are We Lemmings and Snowflakes, is following a bipolar character. And it was so well done. It was really well done and really interesting. I actually really like reading about mental health kind of things, but I want them to be approached well. It's something that a lot of people, including myself, has struggled with in the past. I have friends that are, had different experiences with it, and I'm fascinated by reading that kind of stuff. But also, I would be picky as hell about it as well. So the way an author handles that kind of topic is really important, and she handles it really, really well. And there's humour in the right places, but there's also it's dealt with seriously as well. So I'm really looking forward to this one. I think it's basically what I'm interpreting as being around is someone who's had this sort of mental break, and she's obviously trying to make friends and have relationships, and how honest can she be with her friends and relationships about what she's been through, and will that scare someone away? Do you tell people that you lost it for a while? It's one of those interesting things. I'm in a relationship, and my and my boyfriend knows my history with mental health struggles. I don't feel like you can have a successful relationship without being honest about these things. But equally, like, at what point are you honest? You know, it's interesting. So I don't 100% know what the book's going to be about, but I just know that it's about someone that has these issues and is trying to basically find her feet with making this a part of her life and maybe accepting who she is. That's literally all I know, and I don't care. I'm sure it'll be brilliant. I'm really, really keen to read it. So that's something that I can't wait to get my hands on this month. And the last book that's on my TBR for the next wee while is called Inferior by Angela Saini. I think that's how you pronounce her last name. And it's basically a look into the research between sort of male and female, gender bias, that kind of thing. You know, so that should be very interesting. It's a topic I'm getting quite interested in reading about. There's a few books going around based on this topic, kind of getting reviewed recently. So this is something I think would be quite interesting. So basically, it's just the book is questioning the research, sort of into sort of male and female, what's actually different, what's not, that kind of stuff. I don't know a lot about what the book is about, but it's called the How Science Got Women Wrong, I think, is the longer title. So that should be interesting. So that will finish off my group of books that I'm looking to read with a nice little non-fiction number in there. So we'll see how that goes. And yeah, I will be back once I've finished these books to give you a little wrap up of what I thought of them all. So if you've enjoyed this video, give us a thumbs up below. That would be really great. And subscribe for some more if you'd like to see more TBRs, recent reads, if you're into the booktube kind of scene. And I'm also obviously doing some weekend vlogs and maybe a little bit of beauty things thrown in here and there when I find something that I want to talk about. So I'll hope to see you again soon, and thanks for joining me. Bye.